This has turned out to be a fairly long what-if series. I hope you're enjoying it. What I've been enjoying the most is watching how this new Naruto grows. That's one of my favorite parts about making these what-ifs, taking a few liberties and shaking the Naruto world up with it. Naruto has gone from a quiet and tormented kid in the back of the class to a somewhat outgoing boy who's now mentoring another one as he was mentored. To think about what could have happened had Sakura and Sasuke never said hello that day, where would Naruto be now? Kindness can change the world, and it does so by changing one person at a time. Love is a burning, raging fire. Once it sparks in the heart, it turns a person into a pyre of goodwill towards all people, a beacon in the night that screams out into the darkness that life doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be lonely. And as one kind person comes into contact with a wounded heart, that wounded heart is set aflame as well, becoming a new beacon. I suppose that's just a really big theme in the stories we like to tell here, and that's because in this day and age, I feel the love of many growing cold. And while we may have a hard time changing the world, if we start small like our favorite protagonist does and talk no jutsu our way up, we just may change this world for the better. But I've prattled on long enough. Let's get to the main event that you've been waiting to see. But first, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. If you subscribe right now, the next iced coffee you buy will have extra coffee in it. Don't ask me how. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. 3 years of training had passed, and Naruto and Konohamaru were growing older. Naruto, now 16, had grown a bit taller and more muscular, with his eyes possessing a glint in them that had never been seen before. They possessed confidence. Konohamaru was still young, but he was slowly growing older as well. He was now 12, and while he was nowhere near as tall or as strong as Naruto, he was still tall and strong, having come from good stock. This was what Jiraiya had told him as they trained. For Jiraiya, it was an honor to train the grandson of the man he'd respected for so long. Jiraiya had aged too, for better or worse. Well, yeah, definitely for worse. His back hurt, along with his hips and his neck. He had gout. Life as a shinobi wasn't kind to one's body, and he was feeling that on a level so deep right now that he respected Hiruzen's desire to laze about most days as Hokage or council member. Bro hit his midlife crisis ages ago and was now just learning to be content. The words Itachi had spoken to Naruto years earlier had faded from memory and returned to the gray. They had made their way back to the village. As they stepped through the gate, they saw Kakashi and Sakura standing there, waiting for them. Sakura ran to Naruto and embraced him. "Welcome back! You've grown so tall and strong." Naruto looked her up and down. "You too. You've also grown so tall and so wow." Konohamaru and Jiraiya looked at each other out of the corners of their eyes with a knowing glance and a smirk. Kakashi stepped up as well. Electing to give his student some time with his old team, Jiraiya offered to take Konohamaru out for something to eat. They decided to stop by Ichiraku Ramen. The village had changed quite a bit in the 3 years they'd been gone, but stepping into the restaurant, Konohamaru was glad to see that nothing there had changed. The same old man, the same girl with him, albeit a smidge taller, the same stools, the same peeling wallpaper. The only difference was a new set of wind chimes, which made it even homier in there. They sat down by the bar and Jiraiya merely held up his fingers, asking for two. Teuchi would see them and smile, preparing 2 bowls of freshly cooked ramen. Jiraiya would turn to Kono and speak. "I've got a bit of a surprise for ya." Konohamaru looked up curiously. "I sent some messages ahead of time to the 5th Hokage, Danzo Shimura, and mentioned your growth. I gave account for everything I'd be teaching you, and he approved your status as a genin. You're now officially a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf Village." Konohamaru was ecstatic, face lit up like a Christmas tree, pure joy and excitement. "Really? I'm a shinobi now?" Jiraiya laughed. "A shinobi is measured by their heart, Konohamaru, not by a piece of paper. You were a true shinobi in my book the moment you began to take your training seriously. And to show that, I've got something for you." He pulled a headband with the plate of the hidden leaf on it from behind his back. "This was the headband I used during the Second Shinobi World War. I'm giving it to you. You deserve it." Konohamaru took it and looked at the headband with reverence. This single piece of cloth was older than he was. He put it on his head. It obviously hadn't been washed in that many years either, as his nose could detect. But this did not mean that he was going to clean it though. He hoped that if possible, the blood, sweat, and tears within this old headband could transfer to him the wisdom and skill of this powerful toad sage. Just as he looks up to speak, a voice from behind echoes out along with the smell of cigarettes and discount body spray. "As I live and breathe, little Konohamaru." Konohamaru looked back and smiled. "Uncle Asuma!" Alongside him, Asuma had with him the rest of Team 10, Shikamaru, Choji, Amagi and Ino. It seemed he too was here to treat them to a meal as Jiraiya was for him. Asuma stepped in below the light-hanging partition of the little restaurant. He sat down at the bar and his team sat down on either side, Choji rubbing his hands together with a smile, raising his hand to display the number 4 with his fingers. "I didn't know you were back in town." He noticed the headband. He gave it a flick with his finger to hear it tink against his nail. "Ah, finally reached Genin. I'm proud of you. How do you like being the 3rd official member of Team Kakashi?" Konohamaru looked a little confused. He looked back at Jiraiya. "I was planning to inform you all a little later." Asuma's brows raised. "Uh-oh, did I just reveal some big secret? My bad." Konohamaru's eyes lit up even more. "I get to be on the same team as Oni-chan?" Jiraiya laughed. "Yes, Kakashi should be showing up not too long from now to officially add you to the team." Konohamaru was so excited. "This has to be one of the best days of my entire life." He shouted and he hugged Jiraiya, as if Jiraiya had anything to do with this. In fact, he didn't. Asuma knew that as well. This was all Hiruzen. Hiruzen's last gift to his grandson, and his last gift to Team 7. After some time went by, Kakashi, Sakura, and Naruto returned. Jiraiya looked to Konohamaru. "Alright, Kono, let's keep it quiet. We don't want to ruin the surprise for everyone, right?" Konohamaru would nod vigorously. Team 7 entered as Team 10 was leaving. They gave them a quick look of greeting as well as well wishes before heading out. They came in and sat down beside Konohamaru. Naruto looked over and then did a double take. "What's with the fish-eating grin, Kono?" Konohamaru suddenly realized that he was beaming. "Huh? Oh, well, I'm just happy because I got promoted to Genin. Jiraiya-sensei gifted me his old headband. I hope I can live up to the shinobi who wore it before me." Naruto patted Konohamaru on his back. Jiraiya sat there, his bowl completely empty, his face showing a clear desire for a popsicle, something sweet to wash down the savory. Kakashi ordered 3 bowls of ramen, which quickly came. After that, Teuchi began working on a new batch as he just had enough to make 3 more bowls. The others ate while Konohamaru just propped on his elbow watching them, his grin still on his face, a slight giggle in the back of his throat. Sakura would look over and let off a small giggle of her own. "What?" Jiraiya would lift the back of Konohamaru's bandana, causing the protector to slide over his eyes. Konohamaru lifted it and looked back at the elderly sage, who gave him a look telling him to stop being so obvious. After the meal, Kakashi walked out with them. He took them to the monument of the Will of Fire. Jiraiya followed at a distance. Kakashi stepped up to it and looked it over. He looked back. "I have a surprise for you, though I suspect Konohamaru already knows." Sakura and Naruto listened carefully, curious but excited. "We've officially received a 3rd member to our team to take the vacancy left by Sasuke." That Kakashi had to say, measuring his words carefully, knowing that the word replacement might tear open a wound. "Konohamaru Sarutobi will be our 3rd member, as per the wishes of Hiruzen. This has been planned for a long time," he said. "If you recall, when Konohamaru was sent to us to learn, or as he believed, to scout out a new member for our team, that was but a lie I made up. The true motivation was to see if you could mesh well with the team, and to see if you were even open to allowing another member to take the vacancy left by Sasuke. It was Hiruzen's hope to see his grandson on a team where he could grow and understand the brotherhood that comes with being a shinobi. That's why I brought you all before this symbolic statue. This, the Will of Fire, signifies a bond between us all. We're all brothers and sisters, not of blood, but by will and decision. This was something Hiruzen always taught me and taught others, so I felt it was only right to come here and say the same, perhaps as a parting gift to you from him." Sakura and Naruto turned around. Konohamaru bowed to them in honor and respect. "It's not my wish to replace your friend. I wish only to join your family if you'll have me. I'll attempt to live up to my name and your expectations, and hopefully perform in a way that'll make big brother Sasuke proud to have me carry on his duties. I hope you'll please accept me." Jiraiya smirked. How long did it take him to think up that, he wondered. "We would be so honored to have you on our team," Sakura said. Naruto mirrored the sentiment. "Nobody can ever replace Sasuke, but if there was one person I could choose to carry on his duties for him, it would be you, little brother." Konohamaru would suddenly begin to tear up, large drops rolling down his cheeks as his lips quivered. Sakura looked at him and wiped one away. "What's wrong?" He looked to her. I'm so happy that you all like me. I was so scared that you wouldn't want me on the team." Sakura laughed. "No, you're a wonderful kid, Kono. We're honored to have you a part of our little family. We're brothers, Kono. There's no reason that you shouldn't be on our team." They were overtaken with joy. After this, Jiraiya requested that Naruto and Konohamaru follow him. They'd find a beach and sit down. Jiraiya would give each one a popsicle, as he himself would have 2. Popsicles came in packs of 2, meaning there was always one left over, and since he was the one buying, he got the extra. They just sat there and enjoyed the delicious blue raspberry flavor. As they enjoyed their treat, Konohamaru looked over to Naruto. "What even is a blue raspberry anyway? I don't think it exists." Naruto scoffed. "If it didn't exist, we wouldn't be eating it right now." Jiraiya was too busy going full walrus on those popsicles to even care if blue raspberries were fruit or not. As time slowly passed on, he'd be left with 2 empty sticks. He'd look down at Konohamaru and Naruto for a moment before looking back up. "Well, I suppose I should be on my way. On your way? Konohamaru asked. Jiraiya nodded. I gotta get back home. You didn't think I planned to move here, did you? No, Konohamaru said. I thought we'd have more time to spend together. Jiraiya pat the boy's head. Distance is never an issue between friends, because we always carry a piece of them with us. I promise to visit often enough, though, so keep an eye out for me. You two are strong, and you've already learned enough to make even most Chunin shake in their boots. Jiraiya thought about it. You know, I've taught you everything that I know, except for one thing. He looked down. How about I teach you all Sage Mode? Naruto and Konohamaru looked up. Sage Mode? Jiraiya nodded. Well, it won't be me teaching you. I feel you'd benefit from learning it all on your own. I'll let Kakashi know about the 3 unexplored Sage regions that I know about. Perhaps it's time to pass on my team's strength to the next generation. Make a new Sannin. After that, Naruto and Konohamaru would gather up by the gate to see Jiraiya off. They would wave to him as he left, tears in their eyes, but a smile on their faces. They returned to Team Kakashi, where they'd begin to talk about Sage Mode and wishing to learn it. Kakashi, however, denied them this, to their utter shock. Kakashi explained this, however, that they could not do the training right now because of a new mission they were just assigned. As it turns out, the current wielder of the One Tail, the Kazekage, Gaara of the Hidden Sand, has just been kidnapped, likely by the Akatsuki. Naruto's face lit up. Hey, I just remembered. Itachi visited me about 2.5 years ago and told me that the Akatsuki were trying to get tailed beasts together for some nefarious plot. Kakashi nodded. We know. Jiraiya sent us a letter with the story you told him inscribed into it. That's why it is of utmost importance that we go get him back. If this tailed beast falls into the hands of the Akatsuki, we'll be in big trouble. And with that, they began to make their way to the Hidden Sand. As they entered the village, Kakashi would feel the eyes upon him as he was mistaken for his father, something evident by Chiyo's reaction to him. Konohamaru was having the time of his life. He'd never been to a desert before. But it was then that they came across Temari and Kankuro, the latter in critical condition. What happened to him? Kakashi asked. Temari looked over. He was poisoned by an Akatsuki puppet master. Kakashi began to get the details while Naruto and Konohamaru checked on Kankuro. Sakura was there too to ensure Naruto and Kono didn't get in the doctor's way. After collecting some information, they set out to rescue Gaara. What kind of man is this Gaara? Naruto asked. Well, he attacked Konoha during the Chunin exams and released a massive sand tanuki into the middle of the stadium. That was him? Then why are we rescuing him? Kakashi would sigh. It has a dual purpose. The first is to foster a good relationship with Suna, and the other is to keep the One Tail out of the hands of the Akatsuki. As they spoke, they'd suddenly be stopped by a clone of Itachi. He was alone, likely intended to serve as a distraction for the heroes, but he instead let them pass, telling them exactly where to go. They rushed in that direction and made their way into the cave. They had just barely missed the enemy by no more than a minute. They had just extracted the One Tail from the body of Gaara. This would lead to a battle. Naruto and Kakashi versus Deidara, and Konohamaru, Sakura, and Chiyo against Sasori. Konohamaru would stand there, a kunai in one hand, the other clenched into a fist. Sakura was quite the same. Chiyo was making use of puppets, much like Sasori. Konohamaru would rush in, only for Sakura to completely blow past him before jumping into the air and striking the ground with such force that the ground began to shatter. Konohamaru stopped for a moment, his mouth agape, finally realizing why big brother Naruto had a crush on this girl. As Sakura drove him back, she managed to get a good strike in on her target. She smiled as the body fell apart, but as she realized it was just a puppet, her smile faded. The real Sasori appeared. Well, real is an exaggeration, as this body was a puppet as well, though it was also the vehicle of the only human part left of him. He had his own little private army of puppets appeared to defend him. Sakura would smash some, and so would Konohamaru, but in the end, Chiyo decided to use her own puppets to destroy those of Sasori, creating an opening. Sakura rushed in, ready to strike his one weakness, but as she did, a compartment in his abdomen opened up and a wire laced with poison came out to strike at Sakura. But Konohamaru, being a little bit smaller and more nimble, rushes through and gets close. He's not quite strong enough to do a Sasori, so he tries something new. He uses his scarf as a weapon and wraps the long tail of it around Sasori's wire by infusing his own chakra into it. This creates such an opening that they can kill Sasori with one strike. A strike that Sakura takes advantage of. She strikes Sasori in his heart, killing him. It's then revealed that Deidara escaped, but they had recovered the body of Gaara, and in a moment of consciousness, Chiyo sacrifices her life to bring Gaara's life back. After this, they take a sample of Sasori's poison and return to Suna, where they present it to the doctors, who use it to cure Kankuro. They then head back to Konoha, but once they get there, they have very little time to rest, as Danzo is taking the threat more seriously now. He begins sending shinobi out to capture the Akatsuki, dead or alive. The first targets are Hidan and Kakazu, two shinobi that are linked to the Akatsuki, and had partaken in another attack on another Jinchuriki not too long ago. Before the mission begins, Konohamaru finds himself at Ichiraku Ramen eating while Asuma comes in. He sits down. Hey Kono, what's up? Konohamaru shrugs. Nothing really. Asuma scoffs. Surely you got something going on. What about the hunt to take down the Akatsuki? Konohamaru shakes his head. No, my team isn't partaking right now. Sakura's taken up studies to be a healer, and Naruto's creating a new jutsu with Kakashi. I've just been twiddling my thumbs. Ah, that's a shame, Asuma said. Konohamaru looked over. Anything new with you, uncle? Asuma smiled. Yeah, something pretty big has happened to me recently. Guess who's gonna be a father? Konohamaru looked over. You? Asuma nodded. Kono grew excited. That's wonderful, Uncle Asuma. It means I'm gonna have a new cousin. I can't wait to meet them. Who's the mom? Asuma smiled and scratched the back of his head. Remember Kurenai, the leader of Team 8? Oh, that's the team Hinata, Kiba, Akamaru, and Shino are on, right? Asuma pointed a finger to say Kono was spot on. That's her. Konohamaru would hug Asuma. That's so wonderful. I know you'll make a great dad. You're an awesome uncle, so it's only natural that you'll make a great papa. Asuma smiled, a little surprised by the hug. You really don't have anything to do? Konohamaru just shook his head. Asuma thought for a moment. Well, why don't you come with me then? Join Team 10 for a short while on mission. Konohamaru's eyes lit up. You really mean it? Asuma shrugged. I mean, yeah, why not? But you should know that it's gonna be dangerous. We're hunting S-ranked rogue shinobi, are you sure you can handle it? Konohamaru stood up. Handle it? I'm a Sarutobi. I can handle anything. Asuma laughed. All right, you're on the team. Meet us by the gate tomorrow. The day passed and the sun eventually rose. Konohamaru grabbed the things that he thought he might need. He headed out to meet with his uncle and the team consisting of himself, Asuma, Shikamaru, and 2 others Konohamaru had never seen before, Izumo and Kotetsu. Together they go out to search as Ino, Choji, and a shinobi named Raido search in another direction. They reach the fire temple and learn that Chiriku has died. They believe the Akatsuki may be attempting to claim the bounty on him, so they decide to lay in wait and ambush them at the bounty exchange point. Sure as the sun rises in the east, the two roll up. Hidan is ambushed by Asuma, who throws his shuriken. Hidan manages to deflect them, but finds he can't move as Shikamaru has gripped him tightly with his shadow paralysis jutsu. It's then that Izumo and Kotetsu rush in and stab Hidan, but to their horror, he does not die. It's not long thereafter that Kakuzu arrives, offering to help, although Hidan refuses any help. Asuma and Hidan fight, but as they do, Hidan manages to lick some of Asuma's blood. Hidan's skin color changes with the cursed jutsu now in effect. Every bit of damage done to Hidan causes Asuma to take recoil. Hidan having transformed himself into a living voodoo doll. Hidan readies to kill Asuma. Konohamaru cries out. Shikamaru does manage to stop this with the shadow paralysis jutsu. Shikamaru learns that if they can get Hidan off the cursed circle on the ground, the jutsu doesn't transfer the damage, so they need to pull him out of the circle, and Hidan takes damage from an attack, the damage not being transferred. Asuma beheads Hidan, but horribly, Hidan remains alive and has Kakuzu reattach his head. The battle continues. As it does, Hidan manages to fool Asuma, stabbing himself with his own scythe as he steps over the circle again. Asuma goes down. Shikamaru cries out, as does Konohamaru. Both run towards Asuma and Hidan, as Hidan prepares to puncture his own and by extension Asuma's heart with a spike. As Shikamaru runs, he trips and falls on his face, losing his chance to save his mentor, all while he blames himself for what's happening. But not Kono though. Agile and nimble as ever, he rushes past quickly. Hidan laughs as he goes to stab himself, but suddenly his arm is gripped by a scarf. Konohamaru manages to swing around Hidan by the scarf, tripping and pulling him down and out of the circle. Hidan stands and pulls the scythe from his stomach. Fine. You want to die first? I got no qualms with who dies. He rushes at Konohamaru with his strike. It's everything Konohamaru can do just to dodge it. He forms a shadow clone, but the moment it hits the ground, it's killed. A lucky shot. Hidan trips Konohamaru. Hidan raises his blade. See you in hell, skort. Before he can drop the blade though, Shikamaru catches him in shadow paralysis. Konohamaru stands. He steps back and forms a shadow clone, which then helps him form a Rasengan. Kono runs forward, planting the strike in Hidan's chest, sending him flying backwards. He lays there for a second before sitting up, declaring how badly that hurt before shrugging it off. How do we kill something like that? Konohamaru asks. Shikamaru is unsure himself, but all he knows is that they need to deal with it. They need to take one alive and kill the other. Since this one is functionally immortal, he may need to be the prisoner, but with his pain tolerance, Shikamaru wonders how well the intelligence team will do getting any information out of him. It's then that Choji, Ino, and Raido appear and join the battle. Kakuzu is beginning to wonder if they should retreat. Hidan doesn't want to though, and so he continues the fight, refusing to leave until he's killed at least one person in revenge, and right now the one he wants to kill most is Konohamaru. He licks his scythe. It's then that Kono realizes that he's been cut at some point in time. Hidan draws a circle on the ground and looks up with a nefarious grin. I'll teach you what happens when you dare blaspheme in the face of Jashin. He stabs himself in the side with a spike. Konohamaru cries out and hits the ground as he coughs up blood. He raises the blade once more to hurt Konohamaru, but he's suddenly stopped when Ino uses her mind-body switch technique to take over Hidan's mind and body. Shino realizes it. Ino, get out of the circle. She forces Hidan out of his circle, and once more Shikamaru rushes forward. The technique ends and Hidan opens his eyes with confusion before suddenly his head is once again decapitated. Shikamaru takes the head for himself, shoving it into his backpack where they can no longer hear it speak. It's then that Kakuzu is informed by Pain that he should return to base as they need to seal the two tails into the statue. Kakuzu informs Pain of what's happened, and Pain informs him to leave Hidan, as attempting to get him back would risk Kakuzu's safety, and would risk the loss of 2 members instead of just 1. So he orders him to retreat, and Kakuzu obliges. With the battle over, they rush over to Asuma, who's still bleeding. "Asuma-sensei, are you okay?" Ino asks. "Forget about me. Is Kono okay?" Shikamaru rushes over to check on Konohamaru. "I think so. It looks like a flesh wound. Hidan must have wanted to hurt him, not kill him." Asuma sighs in relief. "That's good. Now I just..." The adrenaline wearing off, Asuma passes out. Both Asuma and Konohamaru are rushed to the hospital for their wounds, both suffering from blood loss. Konohamaru suffers from mild anemia, while Asuma suffers from major anemia, as well as some perforated organs. It doesn't take long to get Konohamaru patched up, but Asuma is still under the knife for a good few hours. Konohamaru would wake up in the hospital. His eyes open but blurry, his speech slurred as his groggy eyes meet with a figure standing over him. The figure leans down. "Kono, Kono!" He smiles. "Are you an angel?" Sakura sighs in relief. "No, I'm just a healer." Konohamaru blushes a little in embarrassment. Suddenly, Naruto rushes in, still dripping wet from his training at the waterfall. "Is he okay?" Sakura looks back with a smile. "Yeah, he's gonna be fine. It was just a flesh wound. A lot of blood loss, but we've given him a transfusion and stitched him up. He should be back in working order in no more than 2 weeks, maybe less." Naruto sighs in relief, a feeling shared by Konohamaru. Suddenly, his eyes light up. "Uncle Asuma, please tell me he's okay." Sakura smiles. "Yes, he's in surgery now, but the doctors are adamant that his life can and will be saved. Shizune herself even stepped in to deal with the injuries. She's gonna do everything she can to make him better." It was then that Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji step into the room. Shikamaru sees Konohamaru and asks him how he's doing. "Like I've been stabbed, but I'll live." Shikamaru would laugh. The Ino Shikacho trio then present a bouquet of flowers from Ino, cut personally, a bouquet of balloons from Shikamaru, and a big box of chocolate from Choji. Shikamaru stands there. "I think I speak for all of Team 10 when I say thank you. If it hadn't been for you, our mentor would have been killed." Konohamaru smiles. "He's my uncle too. I would have been crushed if he died." Shikamaru smiles. "I see. Well, we just wanted to thank you anyway. You did us a solid. Know that if you ever need anything, you can rely on the Ino Shikacho trio to help. We'll leave now and give you your privacy." They proceed to turn around and close the door behind them. Sakura smiles. "You did so good, Kono. I'm proud of you." Konohamaru sat forward. "Hey, save some for me," he called out to Naruto, who had already broken into the chocolate. Konohamaru then lay back. Sakura giggled. "Just take the rest of the time off to heal. Kakashi said that if this mission goes smoothly and we don't have anything super big to do after, we can finally take that time off to train with Sage Mode. There were 3 different locations and each provides a special way of accessing a new power. Kakashi said we should all train separately and grow proficient in our own style so we can complement each other better when we're back together. Naruto already called dibs on Mount Myoboku and I took Shikotsu Forest. That leaves you with Ryuchi Cave, where you'll meet the Snake Sage. Sound good?" Konohamaru pouted a little. "I wanted to be the frog." Sakura laughed. "Snakes eat frogs, so it'll give you a leg up on Naruto." Kono smiled. "All right, let's do that." For the rest of the time he was in the hospital, Naruto finished his signature technique, the Rasen Shuriken. With it, he managed to find and kill Kakuzu. Asuma would also get better, being capable of returning home, where he would get quite a bit of time off that he could spend awaiting his new child, Mirai. Sadly though, it was during this time that Itachi would die. He would just fade away. He believed such a disgraceful end to a shinobi as he would be fitting. That maybe this was in some way divine punishment. Maybe God was getting him back for the evil life he had led. He hoped so. It would bring his soul some peace as it passed on. After this, the 3 of them met up by the gate where Kakashi met them. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, eh? That's good. "I can't come with you, but here's a map for each of you. It's quite hard to find the sages without knowing how to get to them, and this should help you get there in one piece. Now, head off, get stronger, and make me proud." With hope in their hearts and fire in their bellies, the 3 go their own ways to learn Sage Mode. How about we stop this one here? I'm thinking we might even be able to push out a 6th chapter to this. I'm really enjoying it. To be honest, I do think that Konohamaru stole the show this chapter, but that's okay. He's an important part of this story and needs some character development. I'm thinking Sakura might need some too. After all, she is just as important as Sasuke was to Naruto. So I think I might follow her journeys in Shikotsu Forest in the next chapter. What do you think? Tell me what you want to see in the comments below. Until next time, peace.
Did you enjoy our video? Well, then be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.